The Multi-Orgasmic Millionaire with Tilly Storm is the only sex podcast for high-achieving leaders wanting to experience the best sex in the epic relationships of their lives without dragging their partner to therapy, blaming it on their hormones, or trying things in the bedroom that don't feel authentic. I'm your host today, Tilly Storm, top 20 sex coach in the world. I hope you enjoyed the episode. All right, as promised, I told you guys that I was going to be speaking to your men for the next 3 episodes. So I'm excited to get this 3-part series out for high-achieving men who want to reclaim frequent, passionate sex, who want to rekindle their woman's desire and increase the intimacy and connection without the typical guilt, frustration, and compromise. So this episode is to help you eradicate the maybe tomorrow syndrome. Are you tired of hearing that, guys? Maybe tomorrow, and then that tomorrow never comes, and then you're sitting here wondering, oh my God, am I ever going to have sex again? I'm in my 40s or my 30s, and I don't know what's happening. I have 3 little kids. What the hell happened to my sex life? This isn't what I had envisioned when I got married 15, 20 years ago. This is a very typical situation that I hear from you guys. I am doing this episode series because I have so many men that reach out to me who want their woman to work with me. And there's absolutely nothing that I can do about that. You know why? Because she actually has to want to work on it. You can't convince her to do it, and it's frustrating, isn't it? Okay? This isn't a her problem. This is a you problem. And when you listen up to what I'm about to tell you today, you will stop thinking that she is the one who needs to change. So this is one of the most frustrating things for me as a coach, a sex and intimacy coach, is that everyone thinks their partner is the problem. And it is absolutely not true. So if you're reaching out to me and you fill out an application to work with me and you put, I'm just here because, my partner doesn't want sex anymore. She had some kids and, she's just not interested. And I don't know, I feel rejected and I feel like she doesn't desire me. And, I need you to talk to her. Or I want her to get on a call with you. How do I make that happen? I'm like, bro, whoa, hold the fuck up. Okay, this is what I'm thinking in my head, because what did you do to attract that sort of situation? Number one. And there's so much more that I get to tell you about why your woman doesn't want sex with you and why is she saying maybe tomorrow every time you ask. So here we go. How do we go from maybe tomorrow to absolutely tonight, babe? We're going to crack the code to consistent desire and connection. Right here. Most men think you're better in bed than you actually are. I don't say this to bust your chops, to bust your ego, but it's a scientific fact. Most men think they're better in bed than their woman thinks. This is testosterone working for you. It's a great evolutionary thing. So it's great because it does help you to feel confident, which is wonderful. And at the same time, if your woman is telling you no all the time, it's not that she doesn't want you. It's just that the type of sex that you are providing her isn't the type of sex that is turning her on and getting her hot. Okay? That's it. That is really and utterly it. I know it is very, very challenging to flip the script from you saying, oh no, it's her. She lacks libido. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's got a problem, to, oh fuck. Is it something I'm doing? Yes, it is absolutely 100,000% something that you are doing. I know it's hard to hear and no one else is going to tell you. So I'm going to be your friend and I'm going to tell you it's you, brah. Okay. So what do you do about it? Well, first of all, you learn women's bodies. You learn about women's sexuality. You learn that there's different erotic languages. And when this is happening and your woman's rejecting you all the time, it doesn't have anything to do with her libido. Okay, yes, I can work with her to increase her libido. But when it comes to the 2 of you and her not wanting sex with you, it's because you are not speaking her erotic language. period. That's it. Okay? You are speaking French, she is speaking Chinese, and you guys are talking, and you don't understand what each other is saying. Because there are 5 different erotic languages, just like the love languages. I've talked about them many times on this podcast. I'm not going to go into complete and utter detail on it because I've mentioned it so many times, but I will give you the basics because for a lot of the men that are listening in, this may be the first time you've ever heard me talk on this podcast. So the erotic languages are like love languages. Most people have heard of the love languages by now. It's 2023. That book has been out since I was a teenager. So it's been around a while. It's a very helpful tool for understanding how your partner feels and receives love. For example, maybe you are someone who receives love through physical touch or words of affirmation. That's mine. Mine is physical touch, words of affirmation. I think words is a little bit higher up on the ranking and then physical touch. But how that's wired, it happens in childhood. Basically, how your parents showed love to you will really impact how you're going to experience love when you're older. And when someone has a different love language than you and they're maybe gifts, they love to receive gifts and that's how they know that they're loved. People have a tendency to express and give love in the way that they like to receive it, which is just natural because we think that people are like us. And the truth is they aren't. So this is the same concept that can be applied to the erotic languages. Now, say there are 5. Okay, there's sensual, energetic, sexual, kinky, and shapeshifter. Say you have a woman who is an energetic and you are asexual. You guys are speaking completely different languages. You're trying to approach her from the turn-ons that someone who is asexual would approach another human, okay? And she's approaching you in the way that another energetic would approach someone. And then you two are wondering, well, what the heck? Why isn't this happening? This is really challenging. This is difficult. And in the beginning of a relationship, you have your chemistry, your brain chemistry is literally kind of overriding this system of the erotic languages for about 6 months to about a year, sometimes a little bit longer. And your brain chemistry can override for a while, but once it's gone, then the real, true erotic wiring starts to present. It starts to show up. And that's where conflict comes into play. That's where you start to realize, oh my God, maybe my woman, maybe she's not as sexual as I thought. Like, what happened? At the beginning, she wanted sex all the time, and now she doesn't. Again, this isn't because she's broken. It isn't because her hormones are all messed up. It's not because there's something wrong with her. It's because you haven't figured out her erotic language. You haven't figured out how to speak to her in the way that turns her on. And she hasn't figured out how to speak to you in the way that turns you on. And this is where the clash begins. And for most couples, it becomes such a huge ordeal that it ends up in resentments. It ends up in fights about sex all the time. It ends up in dead bedroom syndrome. It ends up in just, not being able to be together anymore, or thinking that you aren't meant to be together because you guys now have a sexual mismatch, a sexual clash, a mismatched libido, and you think that that is grounds, like it's a deal breaker. And for a lot of people it is. But the truth is that it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be a deal breaker. And here's why. Because you can learn a different language, right? Sometimes languages are hard to learn. I freaking suck at it. I tried to learn Spanish a year and a half ago. I went through Rosetta Stone. I suck at it. It's like the hardest thing on the planet for me to do. I'm really intelligent in a lot of ways, but language learning is not one of those ways. So I know it can be really challenging for people to learn a different erotic language, but that is One of the beautiful things about being in a relationship is that you have an opportunity, you have a unique opportunity to open up and expand your own capacity to experience pleasure in new ways and to give pleasure in new ways that aren't necessarily natural to you. And this is the beautiful thing about that, is that that is what keeps sexuality awesome over a lifetime. Because if you two only ever approached each other from the same language, that if you only cater to her language and she only caters to yours, okay, great. Maybe you two figured out things for the two of you. But what about all the other things that you haven't explored that maybe a different language provides? For instance, the kink. Okay. So when people are in relationships over the course of time, they stop doing all of the adventurous things. They don't have time, they have kids, whatever the reason, right? Or they just stop becoming erotic explorers. Things aren't spontaneous. They aren't adventurous anymore. And this is because they aren't actively learning to expand their own body's turn-ons and their ability to provide turn-on in different ways that might not come naturally to them. And the thing that makes relationships and sex amazing over decades is to have an adventurous spirit about it, to be in fun and play and laughter about it. But that can't happen if your communication sucks. It can't, because then feelings of rejection come in, feelings of not being heard or seen, and then the communication conflicts are what keep people from being able to explore and to play and adventure. So if you have amazing communication in a relationship and you are struggling to connect sexually, consider it a good thing, because the sexual connection is easily resolved. When I get you guys to see that it's not about one of you being broken, it's not her fault, it's not her lack of libido or something wrong with her, and it also isn't you, man, as she's rejecting you. She's not rejecting you. She's rejecting the type of turn-on that you're offering. So when I say it's just about you, it's not just about you, it's also just about her. Okay, these are two individual people coming together in relationship. What I am saying is that it only takes one person in the relationship to change the sex life. We'll let that sink in for a minute. It only takes one person in the relationship to change the trajectory of your sex life. And man, if you are reaching out to me to tell me that I need to fix your woman, no. I will not stand for it. I will not talk to you. I will email and let you know kindly until you can get her on a call with me. We ain't talking, okay? Because it's not her problem. You are, because you are the one who is reaching out. Therefore, you are the one who is experiencing it as a problem. She likely might not even be experiencing it as a problem at all. That might be her thoughts. She might have never even thought about how you guys aren't having sex as often anymore. It might not even be a problem for her. And maybe it is. Okay? But you only need one of you to work on it, to become open to learning the other's language, to change the trajectory and the course of your sexual experiences together. That's all it takes. I know you're like, well, it takes two to tango. Yeah, sure, it does. Okay? But when one person steps up to the plate and begins to learn a new way to relate, who begins to learn new techniques, new things to try that might actually work for her, things are going to change in your sexuality with her, without her having to do a damn thing. So, if you want to make sure that you stop hearing maybe tomorrow's and you want to get her saying, absolutely, let's do it tonight, babe. You better learn her erotic language. You better learn what turns her on. You better learn about women's bodies. You better learn about their desire and how it's different than most men's. Okay? You got spontaneous versus responsive desire. You've got the erotic languages of energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky, and shapeshifter. You've got all of her anatomy, understanding what actually works to turn women on and how they usually need a longer period of time to get to orgasm than you do. On average, the average woman takes about 14 minutes to have an orgasm. I think it's somewhere between 11 and 14 minutes, and the average man 5. So obviously there's a big discrepancy in between 5 minutes and 14 minutes, and figuring out how do we bridge that gap? How do we meet each other? Man, figuring out how you can last longer and be in control of your orgasm and your ejaculation, to feel that you can be in control of your own body and not the other way around. So important. So yes, you can change things. When you learn how to meet her in her primary core erotic language, this is your N. Okay? If you are asexual and you're turned on by naked bodies, you're turned on by visual things, the typical dude, okay? If you would consider yourself the typical dude that in Hollywood and all movies, it's like, well, this is just how dudes are turned on, right? Okay, yes, it's very stereotypical, and not all dudes work like that, okay? Some of them are very energetic or very sensual or very kinky, or they just like everything and they're a shapeshifter, okay? So if you are a very sexual guy and your woman is an energetic, for example, or maybe a sensual, but we'll talk about energetic first, because most women are usually sensual or energetic, then you coming at her with touching her and her privates too soon, too quick for an energetic, that is an absolute no-go. Ain't gonna work. Maybe in the beginning, in the first 6 months to a year, maybe a year and a half, because you've got the chemistry working for you two. The brain chemistry is literally different. It's on a high. But when that is over, then the real work comes into play. And you've got to put in the effort to learn her language, and eventually vice versa. But it only takes one of you. So how do you get there? How do you learn about these things? Well, you can go purchase my online course. It is called How to Sexually Please a Woman. It is where I go over all of these things. You will learn all about women's anatomy. You will learn about women's desire. You will learn about the erotic languages. You will learn about how to meet her in her language and start learning her language. All of these things are in that program. That's why I made them, because this is the basic sexual education every man needs in order to be able to meet his woman and actually meet her where she's at, so she wants to have sex with them. Okay? So again, if you're being rejected, if she's telling you, no, not tonight, it's not because she doesn't love you. It's not because she doesn't like sex with you at all. It's not because she doesn't want sex with you. It's because you aren't meeting her in her turn on and in her pleasure. You don't understand her language. So you better go figure it out. You better go learn it. And that is the best place to start, is with the How to Sexually Please a Woman training. So do not reach out to me to tell me that you need your woman to talk to me. No. I hear it so many times. I get so many emails from guys that is just like that. I'm sick of hearing it. You need to be reaching out to me, asking me, how do I meet her where she is? Not, can you fix her? That's almost offensive. That is not cool, okay? It is so not cool. So you learn her, figure her out. If you haven't, and if you think you have, but it's not working, that's because you haven't. You haven't actually learned her. You haven't learned the necessary tools and skills to meet her and to provide the type of sex that she's most craving. Yes, maybe you did in the beginning. That doesn't matter because, again, brain chemistry, okay? If it's been over a year, year and a half, that's over. And now you actually have to put in the effort and learn how to meet her, how to support her and her turn on and her pleasure. So go get the training if you want. It's super easy to go through. It's just video and slideshow. So if you are visual, there's different slides that go through all of the teachings. It's very comprehensive. It doesn't take a long time to get through it all. It's self-paced. You get access to the entire thing right off the bat. So if you want to go binge listen to all of the videos, be my guest. Please do. The guys that have bought it and the feedback I've gotten so far is like, holy crap. I watched the first video and I haven't even watched any more of it because I was so impacted by the first one that it changed so much for our sex life together. Like, I can't believe I just watched one of the videos and everything changed from there. So this is what I'm talking about. You get the basic understanding and the knowledge, the sex education that you aren't getting anywhere else. You never will get anywhere else. And you learn to meet your woman where she's at and stop blaming her. Stop making her the one who has the problem. It's both of you, but you only need one of you to change it. All right. So I'm hoping this is sinking in for you guys. Next week, I'm going to come back with another in the men's series for high achieving men who want to reclaim frequent, passionate sex, rekindle their woman's desire, and increase the intimacy and connection without the typical guilt, frustration, and compromise. You don't have to compromise your wants and desires in your sex life at all. You just have to learn how to meet her and how to unlock her. When she begins to unlock, you won't have any more compromising. But if you don't know how to unlock her turn on in different ways, then it's going to feel like a compromise. All right, guys, go download the training at the link in the show notes. I'm also offering a coaching upgrade. The coaching upgrade is 3 sessions with me. So you can purchase the online course component alone, or you can purchase the online course with the 3-session coaching upgrade. If you get the coaching upgrade, you will receive an email in just a few minutes with the link to book your sessions with me. All right, thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please go leave me a 5-star rating and review if this has supported you in some way. And I will look forward to speaking with you next week. All right, bye. Loved this content? Then be sure to download my private podcast training, 5 Days to Epic Sex and Pleasure for High Achieving Moms at www.tillystorm.com/5-day training.